a real flavour of what's on the minds of our coaches and consultants in this whole space. And where you would generally give a presentation to farmers, you know, you talk about all the benefits of cover cropping and multi-species and part of the journey, but the focus for us is on the thinking. So what was going through your head and what critical factors led you to making the change towards cover cropping and then eventually to DownUnder Covers?
I remember, you know, we sort of got out of sheep there at one point, to sort of when I was with Vic No-Till, because livestock was sort of a dirty word then, and we're focusing on just, you know, controlled traffic and all those sort of things that they do. And what I found is that all works really well in these beautiful Wimmera soils, but when we had some pretty challenging sodic clays, they're nearly Goldilocks soils, like they're either too dry and hard or too wet, like it's hard to get them just right sort of thing. And you know, it was challenging to get a break crop in those. We couldn't grow lentils, we couldn't grow a lot of things and be profitable with it, and also tick boxes with remaining ground cover. And so we put one of these multi-species out there. This is nearly 10 years ago. And I had the paddock next to it was canola and faba beans as a companion. And we spent probably $100 a hectare on fertiliser and $50, $60, $70 a hectare on seed in input costs just to sow this canola bean crop. And it come in really wet. We had poor establishment because it just come in wet over the winter, and probably harvested 300 kilos to the hectare off that paddock. And right through the fence, like literally within a metre, I sowed what was now our winter super mix, like a 13-14 way mix. But what was amazing, like we had faba beans in the mix that I'd walk out there and they're up to my shoulder, and then through the fence they're down to me, you know, lucky to be up to me knee. And the difference was that winter super mix, we spent about $40 a hectare on seed. We put no nitrogen, no phosphorus. We put a little bit of liquid calcium out with it. And like we probably grew about 8 tonne of dry matter off it to the hectare. So we got some young cattle and put them in there, and just the live weight gains, how quickly we'll be able to lift the performance of those cattle on that. And when I did the numbers on, you know, harvesting these crops with an animal and working out, we've grown 8 tonnes of dry matter, we've taken X amount of tonne off its cost assist, but we've turned it into kilograms a hectare. It really was a no-brainer for us that was going to be one of our solid rotations for improving our soil. And to the point now where we just kept working on it and fine-tuning things over the years, you know, now where we have a problem paddock, whether it be, you know, soil structure issue or weed issue or any kind of issue, I think as farmers, most of the time, you know, we get advised from different consultants to remedy these problems. It involves us spending a lot of money. You know, lime, gypsum, chook manure, ripping, whatever. And then we're sort of in a position now we're in, you know, we have to make really good returns to pay for those input costs, plus, you know, everything else that goes on financially. And we've found by putting the multi-species in for 2 or 3 years consecutively, we've had paddocks where they've been probably one of our poorest on paper performer in our cropping. And then all of a sudden, 3 years of doing this, put it back into the cropping rotation. Now they're one of our better performing paddocks. But the fun thing I like about this is we're using these multi-species and the livestock integration to fix these problems and improve productivity and soil structure and things, but while making money, and good money at the moment, because obviously livestock are, you know, booming at the moment. So yeah, that's sort of how we all come across it. And then I suppose starting the DownUnder Covers, I was sort of getting asked because people were seeing, you know, what we're doing. It was a bit different with the cover crop side of things. And I was sort of travelling around. I've been lucky enough to travel around most of the country talking about soil health. And everywhere I went, it was the same question. It's too hard to get seed, too expensive. Seed companies don't want to mix it. They've all got coatings on the seed. And we were already putting 300 or 400 hectares and mixing up quite a bit anyway. So we just decided, well, maybe it's an opportunity to, you know, just mix up more and sell some of what we're doing. And so, you know, we went to the States and talked to Green Cover Seeds and we've had a bit of help with some of the scientists and things over there, which has been really handy. And yeah, it sort of just grew from there. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun along the way. And we're sort of very lucky we get to talk and see a lot of people now implementing these things and seeing positive changes in their systems. So, yeah.
Thanks, Grant. That's awesome. I'm so glad that we started with that question, and thanks to whichever coach it was, you know, just wanting to understand what started you there. And It's a story that I didn't actually realize, but it's so important to start by your own observations, not just by what somebody else says. I mean, you can be inspired by what somebody else says, but if you're not actually trialing things and looking and observing, and then obviously the observations took you to asking more questions, highlighting the things that we think are pretty important now in how to make these changes. So I love that the word fun came in there, that you're enjoying what you're doing and seeing and the results, and it's all very evidence-based. You took an opportunity